So this episode of SAO felt like Call of Duty meets Halo with a little bit of trap shit in the middle of it. Seriously, what the fuck was up with some of that Kirito shit? Like, stop. So with this week's episode, we got a little bit of recap with Kirito kind of finally telling Sinon what happened in SAO and giving her a little brief rundown of the things that occurred and ultimately who he really is, basically, to a certain degree of, you know, him being one of the survivors of SAO and kind of giving her a rundown. And I like that it's slowly, with an episode like this, pushing them further together, because if you think about it, he's now giving her the truth. She's getting to understand a little bit more about him, and that anger of him kind of lying to her about being a female is going to slowly go away. So in that aspect, this episode, if you really think about it, it's kind of pushing them closer together, and I doubt it's going to happen. I really doubt it, but ultimately, I would love for him to kick Asuna to the curb and get with Sinon. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe it's just me, and of course, you know, I'm entitled to my opinion like everyone else, but Sinon 1 billion times over Asuna, just saying. And with the tournament starting, you got action, you got, again, it just reminded me of Halo, that dude in the fucking white flipping around and everything, it was just going crazy. You got a mix of Call of Duty shit with that 15-minute screening, so that way motherfuckers can't camp the entire time, they gotta keep on moving around, so it just really felt like you were playing one of those fucking first-person shooters, or a shooter in general. It was just like, yeah, giving you some of that action, and of course, the art and animation, SAO, as far as art and animation goes, I think nearly every episode is probably going to be 10 out of 10 in that department of art and animation, because I just always stay amazed, and I know I've told you guys in several of my reviews already that it's just absolutely amazing, but yet again, it's just like I'm looking at every scene and I'm like, oh my gosh, why is this so amazing? How many millions are they pouring into SAO's art and animation? And some of the super trap shit just got me. I was like, oh my gosh. First of all, you got him kind of like flirting with dudes like, cheer me on. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, Kirito? Stop. That kind of was like turning me off to the episode a little bit. Him fucking acting weird as shit. And it's not even that he's like that way or anything. I don't know if it's just for the jokes or him to like kind of, I don't know what the fuck he was going with that. And then like having to see him swimming naked, it was like, please stop. But with the tournament going in, you see everybody fucking slowly getting picked off. Sinon going in. I love me some Sinon. And then Kirito sneaking up on Sinon. You could definitely see that Kirito is very experienced, and not this particular game, but just as an MMO and a gamer in general. It's like he was able to sneak up on her. If he really wanted to, he could have easily fucking did her in. So it's showing that Kirito, at the end of the day, he is somewhat of a fucking master of gaming. And I guess you can take into account he did have some crazy experiences. He did have a couple of years of being stuck into a game, so he should have some sort of skills this way. So it kind of makes sense, and at the very least, he wasn't a dick about it, like fucking her over. Like, it would have got me crazy if he would have killed her and just like, all right, now it's time to stake out on that death gun. And we find out that there's 3 people that's possibly death gun, because there's basically 3 newcomers, or 2 people at this particular point, because if, you know, we're not including Kirito, then there's only 2 other people, and the white guy that was like flinging around and everything can't be him, or seemingly can't be him anyway, because you got Death Gun ready to fucking pop his brains out. So the mystery is slowly winding down to one particular person. Or is it? Because there is the possibility at the end of the day that it could be multiple people masquerading, and maybe this is some ideology of Death Gun, who the fuck knows. But ultimately, this episode, good episode for the most part, getting a little bit more progression. The tournament started, we got some fucking awesome action. Kirito and Sinon getting a little bit closer, her finding out a little bit more about him, and overall it was a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it for the most part. It had a little bit of progression overall. It did some things. So I'm gonna give this one 7 out of 10. Getting a little bit more of Death Gun. He looks like a fucking insane beast, and it's like, hell's fucking yeah. Sword Art Online 2, the pacing is like, I'd rather it be like an episode like this that maybe it felt a little bit on the slower side, a little bit of recap, than the fucking craziness of SAO 1 where it was just blazing through, because even with the slow pacing, it's progressing things properly, and I really appreciated this episode. So I'm gonna give this one again 7 out of 10. Looking good. But seriously, stop with the fucking trap shit. I don't want to see it. But let me know what you guys think regarding the identity of Death Gun. Do you think that it was one of those 3 people? Could it be something else? Maybe he's hacking the game. What are your thoughts on that? Also, what do you think about all this weird-ass trap shit? Was it pissing you off? And what do you think about this actual, you know, series and what's going on right now as relative to the gaming that you do, whether you do some first-person shooters or things of that nature, RPGs or whatnot? Is it reminding you of anything? Were there any events that I didn't mention that kind of remind you of like a COD or something of that nature? And just share what thoughts of the episode. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be awesome. I'm World, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Episode of SAO felt like Call of Duty meets Halo with a little bit of trap shit in the middle of it. Seriously, what the fuck was up with some of that Kirito shit? Like, stop. So with this week's episode, we got a little bit of recap with Kirito kind of finally telling Sinon what happened in SAO and giving her a little brief rundown of the things that occurred and ultimately who he really is, basically, to a certain degree of, you know, him being one of the survivors of SAO and kind of giving her a rundown. And I like that it's slowly, with an episode like this, pushing them further together, because if you think about it, he's now giving her the truth. She's getting to understand a little bit more about him, and that anger of him kind of lying to her about being a female is going to slowly go away. So in that aspect, this episode, if you really think about it, it's kind of pushing them closer together, and I doubt it's going to happen. I really doubt it, but ultimately, I would love for him to kick Asuna to the curb and get with Sinon. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe it's just me.